talk a little bit of shit. How we open our bowels is super important for the health of our pelvic floor. Well, first of all, actually, opening your bowels regularly and with a stool of a good, healthy consistency and texture is super important for the strength of your pelvic floor. So before we even maybe talk about the positions, ensure that you are trying to aim for a type 4 consistency of poop. Okay, this is called a Bristol stool chart. If you've never seen one before, maybe print one off and have it in the bathroom, because this is sort of the consistency that we're looking for. If you're getting poop that is of these kind of 1 to 3 types, you're possibly dehydrated, or is something diet-wise that needs to be looked at, or the mobility through your gut might be altered. And if you're getting some of these, it can be a medical thing, maybe it can maybe be a hydration thing, but very rarely are we too hydrated. Perhaps the food, so maybe speaking to a registered dietitian to have a look and see maybe what you're lacking. If it's a rough fibre type that you're needing, maybe more of the soluble fibres will create something like this. So we're ideally looking for that. If it's not consistently like that, or more often than not, you really should be getting it addressed, because if we're pooping a solid hard poo more often, that's difficult for the stool to move through the rectum and out the anus. And particularly postnatally, if any of you struggled with hemorrhoids during the pregnancy and maybe still have them after, or if there's been any trauma, any tears, the stress that being constipated or having these harder stools can cause issues. And then on the softer side of it, it can just be very difficult, as you might know, to keep in a loose stool, because there's something not quite right in that the body's like, get this out, and it can be, you need a super strong pelvic floor to try to resist that if it's even possible. So getting the nutrition, and actually I will post a video as well from a registered dietitian about fibre types that are good to help keep the gut moving. Okay. And then the next thing is positioning on the toilet. That is really important. We do not want to strain. We want to get that poop out as easily as possible. So when you're sitting on the toilet, you want to be looking to get the knees higher than the hips. Now this is quite a significant height that I'm showing you here now. So if you want to build a whole new toilet, then you can do. But that's probably not going to be an option really. So instead, what you would actually do is have your feet on something like this, and you would be sitting, if I swap over, so you would be sitting on the toilet and your feet would be up on a step. So my little friend Sally here demonstrates it really well. Her feet are on something, she's sitting on the toilet, and her knees are higher than the hips. Body is leaning slightly forwards as well, okay? So, read if you want to, although I do feel that it is, with everything that we do in our lives, there's some benefits to maybe focusing on the task at hand as well. So your knees are higher than your hips and you're leaning slightly forwards. The majority of people this works for, depending on the angle of the rectum kind of and the pelvis. Some people do get better movement in an upright position. Okay? The reason actually that we do this is because, so this is the rectum, and there is muscles that kind of pull like around this, whereas when we have our pelvis tilted by raising the knees up, it's easier for the poop to come through, just so that you understand why you're doing it. And then the other thing is to use what's called a bulge or a swell of the tummy technique. So we don't want to strain on the toilet, but we want to bulge and brace. So perhaps I should turn around for this. So we talked about the breathing already for exercise. The two shouldn't get confused. So although we still are breathing into our belly here, for the exhale, we're trying to keep the tummy bulged. So you see, I'm really pushing my tummy out as I defecate. The pressure change that creates starts to mobilize or milk that poop through the rectum and out the anus. So your knees are higher than your hips, you're leaning forward, you're inhaling to swell the belly, you're exhaling to keep the belly swollen and see what happens. You don't stop breathing, then you inhale again and repeat the process. And if you're doing that now, you should feel some kind of pressure or some spreading, if you like, in the back passage as you do that. Then the time is also important. You shouldn't be spending longer than 10 minutes on the toilet, even 5 really, particularly if you're prone to hemorrhoids, if you have them now, if you've had them in the past, because sitting in this open position for quite a long time, because of gravity, the bits of the insides can just sort of maneuver their way down a little. So I would really, if you haven't done the business in kind of 5 minutes, then consider just leaving it and doing some exercise, moving around, drinking more water, perhaps massaging through the gut, and then when the urge comes again, you go back and you try again. Really, for full management of this, it's a longer term kind of, you need to address the issue more longer term and speak with a registered dietitian if necessary, and your GP. So inhaling, the belly bulges, exhaling as you encourage the poo to move down, and spending no longer than 5 to 10 minutes sitting on the toilet. If you do get the urge to go for a number 2, we should also be going then. So maybe unlike if we're trying to train the pelvic floor, we mightn't always go on the first urge. When you do get the urge to go for a poo, you should actually go and give yourself the time to do that, because not going, the stool kind of makes its way back up, and it then no longer gets any hydration. Once it's higher up in the rectum, it doesn't get any liquid compared to in the intestine. So make sure that you're not holding it. Don't kind of think, oh, I'll go later tonight or I'll go tomorrow. You try to go at that time. Okay.